pencil.
I would never want you to do that.
Thank God.
The Church of What's Happening Now is presented by On It. This show is brought to you by MeUndies. MeUndies are seriously soft, feel-good undies delivered right to your door. And the best part is MeUndies is offering our listeners 20% off of your first pair when you go to MeUndies.com/Joey. That's MeUndies.com/Joey. And guess what? When you love MeUndies, because you're going to love them, they offer you a subscription service that gets them sent to your door automatically. So go to MeUndies.com/Joey. Show is also brought to you by MVMT watches, movement watches. They start at just $95, and when you go to a department store, you're looking at a $400 to $500 price range, so you're already saving money. Go to mvmtwatches.com/church right now to get 15% off of your movement watch today. I have the black on black. I love it. Go to mvmtwatches.com/church today to get 15% off.
Oh shit. It's still Black History Month, motherfuckers. And this is as black and beautiful as it gets. Little Chaka Khan featuring Rufus. Or the other way around. Does it fucking matter? Monday, February 27th. The Church of What's Happening Now, motherfuckers. Here we go, cocksuckers. Here we go. Bow. What's happening, you bad motherfuckers? Uncle Joey here. Monday or Tuesday in your world. February 28th, the month fucking flew. I forgot it was Black History Month. That's how fucking fast it was. I think that's why they even do it, that so you don't have that much time to even fucking jump up and down for the brothers. Thank God we had Danny Brown on, and I'm always trying to reach out to different diversities and females and whatever the fuck's available out there. What's happening, my brother?
Yeah, fucking Danny Brown was great. I love Danny. It's there's a lot of negatives to technology, but it makes it harder to like hate people. Like we're not racist, but if you're doing a podcast and you get a guest, they're black or maybe they're half whatever, half Mexican. There's no way to hate.
There's no racism in podcast. That's the good thing. There's no racism in fucking podcasts. I had a good time in Minneapolis.
Fuck yeah.
If you came to any of the shows, thank you very much for coming out and supporting us. My sets were kind of rusty. Some of the people were laughing, some of them weren't. I just blew right past them. I got to work a little harder, and that's that. But if you came to the shows, I loved you. A lot of good people came out to the shows. Brandy Lynn came. I didn't even get to see her. I was back there talking with the owner, giving me a fucking ear beat. It was a cool dude, Rick Bronson. The Mall of America is fucking great. I really enjoy it. It's a lot of walking. I know for a fact I lost weight. I didn't eat any of the fucking food. The only thing I ate in there was Brugger's Bagels with turkey on it. And Legoland, I was going to go in there, but you could smell the fucking flu. You could smell it. There's kids everywhere in there. Fucking, that's the only problem. Even if you go early, you got to take a flu shot and wear a scarf. You got to walk around in there like a Japanese at an airport with a mask over your fucking mouth because you're definitely going to get sick.
Do you bring medicine?
I bring everything.
Yeah?
I bring fucking I have everything I have for every ailment I've ever had. I carry some of it on the plane. That's immediate. Nose spray, the Tylenols, the other one, anxiety medication, a vapor pen. I'm prepared. And then in the room, in my travel bag, is where I have my eardrops and shit like that. Then I have another bag, and in there I have like pieces for the sleep apnea machine, sugar for coffee, blue packages of coffee, a lighter, rolling papers. It's all backup. So anytime I go to the store before I travel, I get 2 of each and I stuck it in there. If anything ever happens, I got rolling papers in the sleep apnea machine. I got a lighter hidden in the sleep apnea machine. Just in case we're on an island, who's gonna fucking live? At least I got 2 days of clarity by smoking until fucking I gotta start eating rocks and shit.
Have you ever been sick, like full on, like a flu?
Yes.
At a gig? Yeah.
Yes.
Oh no.
I had in Chicago last year, 2 years ago in Rosewood, where I taped the special. I had.
Yeah.
That was the worst ever. I had that shit of
vertigo.
Vertigo.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was fucking horrible. And I could have canceled, but I didn't on a Saturday night. I remember walking to the airport the next day, and thinking that I felt like I was gonna die. I had to walk a certain way, because every time I stepped out of it, the place would spin.
That's scary. One of the maddest times I've ever been at my mother was she got vertigo and fell down and they called an ambulance. Like they had to bring an ambulance.
No, it's horrible. I made it through the show. I laid down all day. I didn't make any unnecessary movements. It was something to do with my ears and swimming. So I tried to drain my ears. Q-tipped them, and then I did the best I could on stage. If I'd go a certain way, I couldn't be very animated. It's a motherfucker to get sick when you have to do comedy, and I've seen people work through it, man. It's like anything else. It's like anything else. It's not even the sickness. What about the personal issues? What about if you're going through a divorce? What about if somebody in your family dies? What about if somebody if your family is ill? You still got to turn it on for that hour. One of the biggest lessons I learned, I think one of the things that made me, that toughened me up the most, was when I forced myself to do a set after I drop off my daughter Jacqueline. When I drop her off on Wednesdays, I can never describe to you people at home how bad I felt, because it always felt like it was the last time I was going to see her. And I would go home, the first couple weeks I would go home and get upset and get angry and fucking puke from the anger. You have to fucking, when you get that headache and your blood pressure rises, or my blood pressure would drop, I'd puke. And then I figured it out after like 3 weeks. I said, the only way I'm going to get good at comedy and the only way I'm going to overcome this pain is by forcing myself to do comedy after I drop her off immediately. So there was this one room that started at 8 on Wednesdays. Thank God for Andy Payton. And I would drop her off at 7 at the Safeway. And right from the Safeway, I would force myself to this fucking comedy room with 6 people. And I would probably cry halfway there, and then the other halfway I'd be okay. I'd always had a joint in the ashtray. And that, that's mental toughness when you have to go on stage with that pain, in the beginning of comedy, you have to go on stage, and this month you don't pay the rent. How can you crack jokes when you're about to get thrown the fuck out, or when you can't pay your car insurance? But this is all part of the toughness. I watched a very interesting movie this weekend.
What's that?
It wasn't an Academy Award winner, but it let me know that in some instances, or a way of thinking that I was instilled as a young man still works. I watched the movie The Accountant.
That was a really good movie.
I watched it on the plane because you're on a fucking plane. I have my iPod, I'm high, and The Accountant was about Ben Stiller and Ben Affleck, and he kills a bunch of people, and that's the subplot of it. That's the main thing. But the subplot is about a child who suffers from severe autism. When he was a young man, he suffered from severe autism.
He still he has it.
He has it. So it was kind of weird how his father was an army guy, and he didn't want him to be pampered, so he made him force it on him. And there's one scene where they show him fighting a Chinese guy or a Vietnamese guy or an Asian guy, whatever. I don't want to be whatever. And he's beating these kids. They're beating him, but he's beating these kids. This is a man beating 2 kids. And finally he turns around and looks at the father and he goes, enough. Tomorrow's another day. And the father goes, no. To see what you got to peel layers back every once in a while. And he goes, I got to know my son's limitations. I almost cried on the fucking plane because America doesn't think like that no more. America's not even close to thinking like that anymore. And in my mind still, I hate fucking needles. But Thursday, I'm driving to Marina Del Rey, the drive I hate the most in the world on the 405, to force myself against this fear. I'm not looking to be the greatest jiu-jitsu guy in the fucking world. Not at all. I go there because every time I go there, it's a struggle. It's hard for me to breathe. I panic. So people in this country anymore are not doing this stuff with their kids. I've had parents tell me that their kids had severe cases of ADD. Let me tell you something. I think about my childhood, and I had ADD like a motherfucker, and so did a lot of people around them. And it went untreated because nobody knew what it was then. And you know what? People dealt with it. People found something to deal with. I'm going to tell you something that you're going to fucking turn this podcast off when I'm going to tell you. But I'm going to tell you that it's very true. For years, from the years of 87 to 91 or 92, this is embarrassing to say, every time I did cocaine, once I got to a certain level of highness, I would do math for hours.
What do you mean? Like
I would buy a math workbook that had algebra, and what's the one after algebra?
Geometry?
Geometry.
Oh, I hated geometry.
And I fucking would do the workbooks for 2-3 hours at a time while I was doing an 8-ball of coke.
What?
As retarded, and I'm embarrassed to say this. It started in 86, and I would sit there for hours and do what-if things. What if I had 40 kilos of blow, and I cut each kilo with 4 ounces, which would give me a kilo is what, 32.2 ounces. I mean,
you're doing drug word problems.
I would do drug work problems for 4 or 5 hours until I got so bored. I did every figure. I tried to break down how much Steve Graybo would sell to make $6 million. So that's reverse algebra. Do you understand me? I would fucking do that for hours. What would Steve Graybo have to sell to pick up $6 million every 6 weeks? That one took me like fucking 2 months. But I figured it out on my own. After he got caught, I do all that. And you think back to it now. I can never do math like that now. But all I was doing was giving myself, what's the pill people take today? The speed to make them focus? Adderall.
Yes, Adderall. I was going to say
It was a different part. It was a different thing of Adderall, if you really think about it. Cocaine worked in my mind like an Adderall. Why do you look at shadows so much when you're on cocaine? Why do you focus on a fucking peephole for hours? Why do you look under the front step of your door when you're on cocaine? How can you do that for 6 hours? And you focus and you see shadows and shit. Your mind plays tricks on you. How? Because that speed. It's kind of weird to say. And again, I hope you people don't turn the podcast off when you hear me say this. When I stopped snorting coke, 90 days later, my eyesight went to shit. I wish that was a joke.
How's your math? Your math is still good.
My math is solid, but I can't do what I was doing in 87 for 4 or 5 years, what I'm doing now.
And you didn't get a calculator?
Not even close. I wouldn't fucking buy a calculator if you paid me.
Why?
Because I'm still a mad dude. I still do everything by hand.
Have you made like a terrible mistake yet?
I correct, because of my ADD, I do the thing 4 or 5 times. So, do you understand? I don't take ADD medication, but in this movie, the father recognized the kid had a problem, and instead of pampering him and putting him in a school where everybody hugs each other and nothing gets solved, the kid would force himself every day to play loud music and play like a flash strobe light for 10 minutes. And at the end of the 10 minutes in this movie, the character would eat whatever they take, whatever somebody with that disease or that, whatever they call that, takes.
Right. And it's great because he would do more things. Like he would rub his muscles.
Muscles.
Hurt, and I don't know, like, what do you think? Like, do you think he became, like, sort of a criminal because of all that?
No. The autism that he had just caused an extreme. That's the thing.
No, the autism made him a great accountant.
The autism made him a great accountant, and I never knew till about 2 years ago how smart those autism is. What a weird thing it is.
Oh yeah, have you seen the one?
It's a weird thing. It's just a weird spectrum of.
There's this one guy that I've seen where, and who knows, it could be fake, but it's like it says that they took this autistic man on a helicopter ride around New York City, and he drew in pen the entire skyline with it, like every building from memory. It's like they may not have. I don't really know that deep into it, but a lot of them have, like, they might lack socially, but they're just they're like next level smart, like smart that we don't even understand.
All right, so, guys, you go on the road, when you write, like I've said 1,000 times, I always write. For 10 to 12 years, I would sit there how I was taught to write. You sit there like three fucking idiots, and you chew on your pen, and you throw down stuff. It became so fucking bad for me that I stopped doing it completely, and that's why nothing was really going on in my life. Nothing really started for me till I started going on MySpace every Monday and writing a blog. And even though the blog was misspelled or whatever, just working that muscle. Every Monday, I would take a notebook and lay that next to me. And while I was working that story, I would think of 3 or 4 other stories. It would exercise my muscles. When you work your biceps and you're doing curls, the primary muscle of the fucking curl is your bicep. But the secondary muscles are your forearms, and your shoulder has 3 heads, the front head of your shoulders. And it's just really interesting shit. And the same thing happens with writing. One of the things that got me, there was 2 books that really stood out in my mind. The one book was On Writing by Stephen King. And I had read at this point, I'm not going to lie to nobody, I did what everybody else does in L.A. L.A. has a scam. L.A. has a scam that when you move here, Lee came here to be a editor, and one day he goes, Joey, you know what? My minor was writing, so I'm going to start writing. So what will Lee do? Lee's either going to have a good friend that's a writer, because birds of a feather flock together, or Lee's going to go to Samuel French, like every other fucking sucker, including myself, and buy 2,000 books on writing, because we feel that if we read half the book, we're going to learn how to write. And guys, I threw away thousands on books. And I got to be honest with you, I read every single one of them. But you know how much I did from reading those books? Not one thing that they told me to do. Jean Perret, when I first started, who was Bob Hope's writer, it's a great book to read, but you're going to read jokes and you're going to go, Joey, what the fuck? Did this guy write in electricity, or did he write in a candle? Because they're old style jokes, but he teaches you the basics of writing a joke. That was the only workbook I ever did. And I did do the Judy Carter workbook.
I could be wrong, but I think you're way ahead of more people just even reading the books. I have a ton of books. Like, whenever I get involved in something, I'll buy 2 or 3 books. Like, the last thing I bought was 3 blackjack books. I've had them for a week, and I've cracked, like, one for, like, 3 minutes. I don't know. I think a lot of people buy those books, and they don't ever even open them.
When I went to prison, I realized the importance of reading. I knew how to read. I learned how to read. I had a teacher in the 7th grade, Mr. Kingmo, the guy that left me back. He made you read a book a month and do oral book reports.
Oh, shit.
And I really learned a lot about myself, because I learned how bad my comprehension was. And that's ADD. I learned how bad I could read a whole chapter, and then you could say, Joey, what's the chapter about? And go, So I would have to read everything twice. Till today, I read everything twice as I'm reading it. It's impossible. I won't retain anything if I don't. I even have to make notes sometimes. When I read a good book, once I'm on page 15 or 20 and this book's got me, whether it's a Jimmy Page book, which I started the other day, and then I didn't take it on the fucking plane because I knew I'm going to get hooked on this fucking thing. Lalingus cocksucker. Get me a book that's going to get me hooked like heroin, and it's 2 fucking days of reading up all night, and that's what would happen to me.
In prison?
Well, in prison I started reading, and one of my good buddies in there was a librarian, and he found the books that I liked. In prison was where I discovered Cujo, and I discovered...
Oh, that's a scare. I haven't even...
I discovered On Wings of Eagles, the Ross Perot story. I discovered Snowblind by Zachary Swan, another good book about smuggling. This guy was smuggling in the 60s. I discovered a book, just this guy, you turned me, books on music. It was endless. It was endless. And the book club was us in prison talking about the book when I brought it back. He would give me the book, I'd read it, and then I'd come back, and it was him and a black guy that were always in the library, and they read everything. and they kind of read the same. Guess what else I read in prison?
What?
Goodfellas. Way before the movie. Way before the movie. I read Goodfellas in prison, and while I was reading their book, they did an interview on Henry Hill in 2020. So I was reading top-notch books in prison. I read I read a little bit about, because I had a lot of black friends in there. So I read a little bit about, not Martin Luther King, but Minister Farrakhan. I read a lot of different stuff.
Obviously, prison is terrible. But if you're if you were lucky, you went through high school. But if there's people in prison who didn't get to go to school for whatever reason, can you go to prison and get an education?
Yes.
Really? That's cool.
Yes. You go to prison if you really, really, really want to learn, and they have it available to you. There's inmates that are solid guys, man, and just because they made a mistake, some mistakes were worse than others, some weren't thought out. Because of the crime I did and the points I had and the situation I had, when I got in, I went into a place where it was people getting out soon. They had 2 or 3 years left. And these guys had already done their hard time, and I got to talk to them, and they explained different things to me, and I listened. I learned a lot in that. I learned a lot about human nature. I learned about what I didn't want to do in my life, the things I did not want to do. I would look at 10 inmates and look at 7 of them that all had the same habits. I shied away from all those fucking habits.
Did you see those habits in yourself at that point?
Absolutely. Listen, 2 years before I got arrested in 1987. And in 1984, I knew I was going to get arrested. It was just a matter of time. I was just walking around. In 1985, I was walking around waiting to get arrested or waiting to get shot. And I was carrying a weapon. Once I went to Colorado, the weapon stayed, and I became a different person. It was like I was a fucking person who would change. And then after a few months, I went back to who I was, a fucking thief and credit card. It was like a fucking pattern. But I always, during that whole time, I was taking classes. Even when I lived in Snowmass, and I was doing all the shit I was doing up there. I was at Colorado Mountain College. I was always one of those guys that had a little bit of hope. I didn't think I could become anything, but I wanted to absorb as much knowledge as I could that would get me to the next level.
That's so crazy to me, because you said that today on your Periscope, that you wanted to make something of your life. And I don't know, I'm starting to think that maybe my thinking has been wrong, but ever since I've been a kid, the only, to me, making it means just you have a lot of money.
No. That's what people are wrong. That's the misconception we have till we're about 30. Because by 30, we meet people who have a lot of money.
Right.
That are living their life wrong, and we meet people who have a lot of money that are they're living their life the wrong way, or we admire how. There's 2 ways to live your life, how you have money. It's what part of your life you get it. If I give 10 21-year-olds $1 million cash, within a year, 6 of them will be broke.
At least,
2 of them would have made investments. They would have bought a pizza place or bought their parents' houses or something. But 6 of them would have been gone. Now I take those same 10 people and give them $1 million a piece when they're 10, and the percentages will go low because they've worked. They've paid off debt.
You mean at 30? 10 years
at
later?
30, yes, I'm sorry, at 30. And if I take those same 10 people at 40, what'll happen? The percentages go higher because we paid our dues. It's like we goof around, but it's true with women. When they're 20, they want the hot guy who's got a tattoo and a beard and, says all these things. But when they're 30, they lower their expectations. By the time they're 40, they'll marry a guy with a kid. Because they understand where life goes. I'm happy. I accepted prison at that age. It was good that I went at that age.
Uh-huh.
And it was good what I got out of it at that age. I got all the right things at that age. And listen, like I said 1,000 times before, I didn't stop being a fucking criminal too. 15 years ago in one way or another. You know, I was still breaking the law, whether I was selling coke or stealing lighters. It's still breaking the fucking law.
What do you think would have happened if you hadn't been gone to the prison that you went to? If you'd gone to like a hardcore prison?
I would have fought for my life. I would have, whatever the situation was, I had to rise for it. I knew that mentally before I went in. I knew that at every level. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. But whatever it was, I was prepared. You know, I didn't play into the game. Listen, I could have gone into prison, hooked up with 3 dudes the first day. Because the first day I hooked, you know me, dog. You've seen, I get the best Armenians in town. The first day I got to Camp George West, I hooked up with this dude from New York. Talking to me. But within an hour, he had me hooked up with a shot of heroin in his room an hour later.
What are you talking?
If I wanted a shot of heroin. And then he had a buddy. I've seen this guy before. He was a white dude that kept smiling and agreed with him to everything. And I knew that these 2 guys were by the way. I wasn't going to do heroin. I said, yeah, I'll see you later. I don't like needles, and I disappeared. About a day later, the kid took me aside and go, stay away from those 2 guys. Those 2 guys are scam artists. They make you send them money, and they make their living off. When you shoot heroin, you shoot it. There's a cotton ball. And these guys would make their living off of that cotton ball, like that cotton ball, that last shot of heroin. Like they were just, you know, regular fucking
scumbags,
so, yeah, I avoided them. That's it. I was still their friend. I didn't say I was at war with them or anything. If they came into the kitchen and, you know, I could hook them up with an extra bun or something, I would. I just didn't go into that fucking feed. I could have gone into any different group I wanted to, and I pretty much stayed to myself and got away with it.
Is that like... I used to watch all those. I think I've watched every Lockup and the Nat Geo one that they have, and that everything. And maybe
all that. I watched that stuff.
Yeah,
and all that
okay.
Isolation stuff was pretty much. I never saw that.
Okay.
I never saw that isolation stuff. I could lie to you and tell you I was hard. I was in a hole for 3. No, that was when I got in there, dog. I wanted to do my time and get the fuck out of there. Okay. I wasn't gonna let myself get bullied. None of that shit was going to happen. If you smacked me, I was going to smack you back no matter what size you were. If you spoke down to me, I knew a way how to talk back to you without you getting mad. And I never came down to that. I fought a kid in there, Severino. I still love him with all my heart. And I beat up that white dude for fucking, the dude I put the box of shit in his fucking drawer, that half a fucking retard, wannabe biker. And that was it. I had no problems. And in the halfway house, I really had no problems. I just knew, listen, man, I was thinking this weekend in Minneapolis about what's going on right now. Whether it's Animal Planet, the podcast, stand-up comedy, my family, the daughter, you know. It took 54 years to surround myself with the right situation. I'm no better than you or whatever. That's why I talk to you the way I do. At the age of 28, because I want you to eliminate the waste. There's just a lot of waste. And God knows I did 90% of it. In no different way than just doing stupid shit. This country, if you see the direction it's going, if you're young right now, I want you to strap your seatbelts on. I want you to focus. I want you to buy property. I want you to do as much as you can so you have as much security by the age of 40. Who knows if we're going to have Social Security? You know, when I was a child, they said there wasn't going to be no Social Security. You know, who knows? I'm 54. I'm thinking about Social Security. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Starting next year, I take Lee to breakfast every day, 15% off at Denny's. You know what I'm saying? And he picks up the tip.
And McDonald's, you get like a free senior discount.
Sure. But the thing... You know, this morning I said something and Lee called me and he goes, it's the funniest thing. I said, you know, when I didn't watch the Oscars last night, but I watched CNN later on that night and I saw what had happened and the people, the Hindu who made the speech and the other guy who boycotted it. And, you know, it's like it's the Oscars. We're trying to have a good time and you got to bring all that shit up. You know, enough. And they do it for what? To get the pat in the back. You know, I'd rather fucking... get fucked in the ass by a midget than that pat in the back for me being brave, for sticking up to Trump. It's over, you know. I mean, what the fuck are you bitching about still, you know? And I was sitting there thinking about how I never want to be around those people. Like, since I moved here, guys, tonight I was supposed to go to Doug Benson's High Court premiere, which starts tonight, by the way, and it's a pretty good show. Doug did a good job. He's smoking pot on TV. You got to take your hat off to the fucking kid. So I'm on one of the episodes. He's got a great crew of people that are playing bailiffs. I think, who else?
Jessime Peluso.
Jessime Peluso's playing one of the bailiffs, one of our girls. So, yeah, they got a great crew. So I wish him all the luck in the world. And you think about the journey he took. When I think about comedy, I don't think of myself as a good comedian or a great comedian, or that I'm going to be remembered, or you don't see me going on tours or selling tickets like Dane Cook or nothing. You know what I like about that I did?
What's that?
The journey to get to the Comedy Store. I still can't believe it. The talent with me, there's no talent. I'm just a fat fucking guy that grew up on a corner and knows how to tell a story. You know what I'm saying? There's no fucking talent here. The talent was getting me here. Like, how the fuck did I end up in California? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you went to school for 4 years. We've had this discussion. You've looked me in the eye and said, that school did who got for you. You could have learned more in high school hanging out with 4 fucking dudes who were nerds, you know? But the journey you made, that's where the talent is. That's where the persistence is. You came out here with a girl who came out here twice and left. You know, since we've been here, we've had people come and fucking go. The talent is getting here. It's not for me, it wasn't, I don't see nothing in the comedy. I like that I do comedy, and I'm lucky I got involved in it. But for me, listen, man, before my mother died, I knew I was going to bust out of North Bergen. I love New Jersey. I love everything it stands for. But there was something about North Bergen that I know I didn't want to stay there.
Completely understand what you're saying.
I know there's a lot of people who understand what I'm saying, a lot of people who don't. And I appreciate a lot of the people who stayed at home today. I did something weird today. One of my biggest sorrows is the damage I did in the Bender household from 1979 to 1981. It's unexcusable. You know, thank God Bobby talks to me. John talks to me from time to time, who I was supposed to move in with. And yesterday when I got off the plane, I went on Facebook last night to post some videos, and I saw that prayers for his sister, Renee. And I still remember moving in their house when my mom died, and how she would cut my hair for free, and I would go over there and she'd goof around with me. And a year and a half later, she got a boyfriend, you know, who I knew. And I can't lie to you, I kind of got jealous. You know, I was a 17-year-old kid. She was like my big sister who I had a crush on. And then she ratted me out about something, and that really destroyed me. So I did something stupid years later. It's not even worth talking about. And I pissed off the family. And then the father died, who I was just writing about in the book today, how he came up to me at the funeral, at my mother's wake, and said that it would break his heart if I didn't move in with him. You know, this is when the night before I'm going to bury my mother. It was just a weird thing that happened, and I ended up moving in with them. And then, you know, I was just too crazy for John. So when I found out the sister was in the hospital today, I didn't have the balls to call the hospital. I called her other brother, Bobby, and they're kind of at war, and I convinced him. I convinced him to go to the hospital and just take her hand. You know, and then I did the impossible. I Facebooked John, because I don't have his number, and I said that I would light a candle for his sister and say a prayer, and that I was really sorry for everything I had done all those years. And, you know, I want to go home and talk to him. And he said that he was not mad at me, that he was disappointed with me because in all the interviews, I never mentioned him or his father, you know. And I said, I talk about your father all the time. But I think it's time that I go back there. I know your mom hates me. And I think it's time that I go back there and talk to you. I want to do something with you. So he said, absolutely.
Wow. What, can you explain? Is it like a cousin? Is it like a brother? Like, what is John Bender to you?
John Bender was a kid that I was in the 6th grade with. When I moved to North Bergen in '73, one of the first people I saw in the neighborhood was John Bender. He was one of those kids that was loud and obnoxious, and he had a dog, and he would make the dog bite you. And
What?
And I thought he thought that was cute. So I avoided him like the fucking plague. Okay, I just avoided him. I would say hello to him. He had a brother that I knew, and that's it. And the brother was the man. The brother was the man. When you were a kid, you know that dude, that's the man. He got a car. He's got the hottest chick in town.
Right.
He smokes weed. He listens to cool music. His brother was the man. So I was slowly becoming friends with the brother because I was tight with Carmine. And he was always tight with Carmine, so he'd see me always Carmine, so he'd accept me for what I was, blah, 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 blah. And then one day, I transferred from fucking Catholic school, got thrown out, and I went to McKinley. And now I had to go to school with John and all those other kids in that area. And it was not hard for me. I can't lie to you. It wasn't hard for me. I knew them already. Excuse me. I knew half of them already from the neighborhood. So, in the 6th grade, I fucking went to the courts like I did every day, and I'm playing basketball because I want to be good at basketball.
Okay.
And this kid, Richie Ferreira, wants to play basketball. So we're playing basketball, and he's kind of drunk. Now I'm fucking 12, you know, maybe 11, 12. Richie Ferreira's maybe 17. So fucking in the middle of the game, I say, Richie, stop fouling us. And he pushes me and he throws the ball down the fucking hill. I get up to push him. He just knocks the shit out of me. And I didn't cry or nothing. I just took it and went down to the corner and went and picked up the fucking ball and went home. But my pants were ripped. I tell the story on stage. Not in the extended version. But this all went down and Carmine was on his porch with Peter looking at this. This was a commotion. And the next thing you fucking know, I go home and I go in the shower. My mom's home. What the fuck is my mom doing home? I go in the shower. The phone always rings when my mom is home, so I don't. But the next day is when I got home and she said, listen, we're going to go to the park. You got beat up yesterday? You didn't do nothing. And I'm like, Mom, what the fuck? So she takes me to the park. She takes the guy. We fight. He beats me up again. My mom walks me home, tells me it's okay. I'm going to get into a lot of brawls in my life. But guess what Richie Ferreira does?
What?
He hires John Bender to fight me.
What?
So I'm in the 6th grade one day, and John Bender comes in and he goes, hey, fucko, spick, whatever. We're fighting at 3 today. You, Richie Ferreira,
How old was John?
6th grade. We're both the same age.
What?
Both the same age. So
Okay.
now I go home, I take my books out. Now this was big time. This was weird because they thought Carmine was going to come. So Bobby got on the corner. They had people on top of the hill. And John showed up with every white kid in town. And I'm standing there with fucking Martin Perez, Valentin Ferro, Dominic Special, and Michael Special. You know, he showed up with 15 fucking kids. And they made a circle. And I fought him and he broke my nose. And I gave him a black eye and he busted my lip. He really beat me up, if you want to know the truth. And the next day we just went to school like nothing happened. And then like a week later he comes up to me. And he goes, listen, what happened? I feel really bad. And he shook my hand. And I took it for what it was. I always knew something was going to happen between us one day where I'd stab him or something. I didn't say nothing. And fucking, you know what? He became my friend. Like, he would look out for me, and he cut a deal. He would ask me to go steal punks with him. That's how young we were. We would go steal fucking punks from the Meadowlands, those things that you light on fire and the mosquitoes would go away. And he'd go down there, take 50 of those things, come back, sell them, and give me $25.
Oh.
So he felt guilty about what he had done, and I take the $25 and, you know, we started going to movies together. He always liked ugly chicks. And he always got me double dated. And the chick looked like a fucking bus hitter. You know. And we became friends. And I used to lend him my mini bike. And the deal was if I gave him my mini bike, for the day, he'd let me eat Italian food at his house. And his mom cooked the best fucking meatballs and sauce and ricotta and salad, and just, it was fucking amazing. My head would blow up when I go there. And they'd be cutting hair in the living room because Renee, the one that's in a coma, would be cutting hair on Wednesdays. And I'd sit there. I didn't give a fuck about the hair. I would get a bowl of pasta, like rigatoni, like ziti.
Okay.
And they put sauce on it and 2 meatballs and a fucking big scoop of ricotta cheese. Oh. And we'd mix it up, and then they put Parmesan on it for me. And she'd make me a big salad with Italian dressing, homemade, with fucking hot pepper, crushed hot pepper on the salad. Yeah. Dog, they fucking freaked me out. So they were very nice to me. And then I would go, I used to have a top pool, the pool above the ground.
Above the ground pool.
And they got a below the ground pool, and they invited me over there, so I became friends with the fucking father and the brother and the whole goddamn family, Lee. I was family. And when my mom died, I was supposed to move in with Carmine, but he was too strict. I couldn't adjust. So I moved in with the Benders, man. And whatever my relationship was, the mother wasn't good, but the father was one of the best men I've ever met in my life. There's not a week that goes by that I don't think about Jimmy Bender. And I don't cry or I don't feel bad because I didn't see him before he died. I fucked him over. I didn't go to his father's wake like a fucking junkie that I was. I was supposed to go to the wake, and I stayed out till 5 in the morning and missed the fucking funeral. And I was too embarrassed to call him after that. And I think I did call him from prison one time, but I hung up. Then he ended up dying of cancer. When I did The Longest Shot, I did a premiere party at Rascals in Jersey City, and the sister, the daughter, and John showed up. And we've been trying to rekindle a relationship ever since. But it just, and if I ever feel, I learned the biggest lesson of my life then. I had no right moving in there, because I loved John, but I didn't love him that much. John didn't do drugs. John and me had one hobby, the movies and eating. And he would make me laugh, but John wanted more from me that I couldn't give him as a friend because I wanted to get out. I was in pain. John wanted to listen to the fucking Beatles and stay home at night and bang ugly chicks, and that wasn't for me. And he was getting pussy all the time, dog. Since he was 10, he was knocking out bitches in that fucking apartment. Oh, my God. His father was very lenient. I embarrassed his family. I say it right out. I stole from his family. I don't feel guilty. I feel very guilty about it. And I always felt guilty the day they asked me to leave. And today I think I started the process of just trying to eliminate that before I fucking punched the ticket, because I just acted incorrectly, man. They were one of the best families I ever met in my life. At that time I used to hang out with the Benders, the Balzanos, the Denny's, the Morans, the Garcias. I hung out at 6 or 7 different houses, man, because these, I didn't have this type of family structure in my house. At that age, by the time I was 12, my mother worked every day. If I wanted to see my mother, I would go to a bar and she'd give me whatever I wanted to, but I didn't want to go up there. I was as independent as could be.
At 12, that's crazy.
At 12, I was doing laundry. I was ironing my clothes. I was shopping for myself. I was vacuuming for my mother. I was washing the windows. I was cutting the grass. I was still smoking dope and doing illegal criminal activities. But don't get me wrong, I was doing what I was supposed to do. That's why when she died, I adapted to it so easily in a way, because I was already watching me, better than anybody else could watch me.
Was it weird that your mom worked and wasn't at home during the day for you, or was that normal for North Bergen? Because I'm trying to think of the 70s.
In the 70s, both parents worked.
Really? Okay.
And there was a neighborhood group. Okay? I'm hearing more and more of these complaints from people that they just don't see kids, that this is the indoor generation. If you're 25 and under, you're the indoor generation. They have no whatever outdoor. That's why I push you to go out, because I learned the hard way. I learned the easy. My mother used to make me go out of the house. She didn't know I was doing what I was doing, but she wanted me to get out of the house. And she set something for me at the same time. She taught me how to get out and do something. I talk to people who get hurt at work or get a surgery now, because I'm at that age, and they tell me that the worst thing about the whole thing is that they have to sit at home and watch daytime television. They didn't know how bad it really was. that you don't know how bad it really was. I try to avoid daytime. I don't try to turn that TV on. The TV goes on in the morning. What I get on is the news. And once Mercy gets up, it's 289. I watch Disney. I watch fucking Elena and the other two.
Is Peppa Pig still big? Is she still?
Nah, she doesn't
Peppa
have
Pig's
Peppa
gone?
Pig no more. Peppa Pig's gone.
Damn.
It's Elena of Avatar. There's a new one, and then she's into trolls. So when I left the house, she was singing Earth, Wind, and Fire, September and shit, and she would tell the mother to stop it. I'm singing. So it was pretty interesting, but that's why this morning, I got Mercy out at 9. My wife's like, where you guys going? We're gone. That's in my blood. You gotta get out. Your room is clean, make the bed, let's go. Brush your teeth. We're just gonna go to the park. And then my wife met, and I went to jiu-jitsu. I went there early, 11 o'clock. But you gotta get your kid out of the house. And now that I watched that stupid Ben fucking Affleck movie, which I enjoyed because of that issue, because I still believe that I've had parents tell me that their kids have extreme cases of ADD. They have impulse. How many times did I walk? What do you think? When I left the house, there's a million times I left the house thinking I was going to go to church, and I ended up robbing fucking a super 7-Eleven and things like that. That's impulse control. When you go out and see somebody's purse on the floor and you fucking stop what you're doing to click the fucking purse with a $20 bill. 2 days ago, I found the fin at 7-Eleven. Till this day, you put your foot on it. And you just walk like you fucking got a bad knee.
Wait, you didn't ask the guy behind the counter if anyone missed it or if they had a lost and found?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to ask him if there's a lost and found. And you know where that's going to go? Right to ISIS. What are you, fucking retarded? Where's Tony Bennett?
Somebody. Yes, sir.
So, what was I going to tell you motherfuckers today? We had a great month. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting us. We're trying to fucking give you guys great shows. We're trying to give you a monthly report. We're trying to get this music we're going for next month. We got a great month in March, a great month of podcast in March. So thank you for the continued support from the bottom of our fucking little hearts and shit. We thank you for coming to the shows and for buying T-shirts and for the love that you give me and Lee. But today, every day I told you guys I've been writing every day. I started with a sentence a day. Now I'm up to like 2.5 paragraphs, and I clean up the paragraph from the day before. Whether it's good or bad, I don't know. Let the editor fucking take a look at it. He's probably listening right now anyway. Send him some props, my main man Gordon. And I listen to music sometimes when I'm just outlining it.
Is it specific music?
No.
No, just any music?
I'm doing Facebook. I get home from jiu-jitsu. I do the jiu-jitsu BJJ journal. I write what I learned, to the T, how I did rolling. I write down that I went on the mat that day, so it's a number for the mat. I'm up to 2.86 this month, so I didn't do all that bad. What else did I fucking do? And then I do a couple other things. Then I go take a shower. I eat lunch with my wife. Then I go back and I check out all the shit I did. Any other emails, I print what I got to email. And then the last thing I print out, it was Lit Lift. And I put YouTube on. Then I got a notebook or a piece of paper, and I outline what I want to say that day, just to blow it through instead of sitting there like a fucking Momo. So what used to take me 2 hours now is taking me 45 fucking minutes. Because for 35 minutes I'll outline it, and it's a 10-minute write. It's fucking unbelievable. I never did it this way. So I do it that way, and I'm sitting there, and I don't know what the fuck I put on. I think it was Sweet Melissa, something by the Allman Brothers. And I guess sometimes YouTube rotates.
Yeah, you have a playlist.
And then they have a playlist on there. And they were just playing songs. They played, they went from the Allman Brothers to Molly Hatchet to some other country thing. And then it went into Leonard Skinner, Give Me Back My Bullets. But I'm not watching the videos. I'm outlining. Somebody had called. I think you had called at one time. And I said, hold on for 1 second.
Oh, yeah.
All this shit was going on. And Leonard Skinner, Free Bird, which you've heard a million fucking times, comes on. So it's coming on, and I'm hearing all this shit, and I keep outlining. I'm talking to my wife. I put the earphones back on. It's up to a part, and I go, let me look at this for a second. And guys, my fucking tongue dropped. Like it just sucked me in. I saw something that, this is why I think I was on Hot Ones, and I talked about my influences, and I said, that it's not, listen, you could say how many comedians you like. I could tell you, I really liked Richard Pryor. I really liked the style of the other guy, the white dude.
Carlin.
You know, I was a big Lenny Bruce fan, you know. But music is what really got me enthusiastic about how they both meet. Like comedy and music kind of meet somewhere. And, you know, I looked at Julius Erving as a child, and I said, wow, if I could do comedy, I would do it. And it's a weird... whatever. I just like taking it to the hoop. Julius Erving wasn't he was great at dunking, but he was great at taking it to the hoop, and that's why I like Julius Erving, because I like taking it to the hoop. I don't like going up there and dilly-dallying with you motherfuckers. I would never do that. I hate when people go up on stage and they don't take it to the hoop. And then I like Richard Pryor for the language he used. I like Lenny Bruce. I liked Richard Pryor because he brought out that drug language and fucking it freaked people out. So I allowed myself to fucking take that drug type of comedy from him. But then music influenced me. And I like the fucking style of Led Zeppelin, like the way they fucking came out. No drama, no explosions, just four fucking dirty guys just playing. You know, but they're English. So there was an English explosion in the 60s, you know, all those bands fucking, I don't even, whatever, we could go through this shit later. But... doesn't fucking matter. You guys know what I'm talking about, the Beatles, Led Zeppelin. So it was a kind of liking for Led Zeppelin and all these English type of bands, David Bowie, Eric Clapton, the list goes on. But then I'm looking at this fucking Leonard Skinner, and it's a performance live from Oakland, 77, maybe a couple months before they died, you know. Put it in the middle lead. Let's start it from the middle where they start losing their fucking mind. By the hat, yeah, start by the hat. Let's see if they're losing their mind yet. Alright, so I'm watching this fucking video. Now kick it up a little more. No, to the middle.
Sorry.
To the middle. Now, I'm watching this Ronnie Van Zant. Kick it up right here. If you can watch this video right now on your computer, turn on whatever they are, Leonard Skinner Live Oakland Free Bird. And I want you to watch the whole thing. And what you're gonna fucking see is, six guys that are fucking tremendous musicians. From the piano player, Billy, to fucking, you know, the bass player, they're savages. But this is Oakland. And Oakland's known for fucking black. I'm sitting here right now with Lee, and I'm staring at 3 levels of fucking people in a stadium. It's part of like a summer jam, obviously. But they're all rocking. I mean, I would love to be in the first 5 rows. It's all women with bikini tops. You could probably smell their monkeys and armpits and shit and their dirty feet. But, yeah, Leonard Skinner's rocking. That's great. They're expected to rock. But I'm watching this and I'm like, wait a second. There's nobody in those 3 tiers of people, which, what do you think, Lee? How many people are we looking at right now?
At least 80,000. It's where the A's play. It's like 80,000
it's where the Oakland A's play. At the time, whatever, 77.
Now too.
These guys got a Confederate flag up on stage. They got they got the, what's the 4 presidents?
Oh, the Mount
Rushmore.
Rushmore, there you go.
They got the 4 presidents cut in half, 2 on one side and 2 on the other. It's a daytime, so there's no light show. They got American flags everywhere hanging on the stage. They're fucking rocking, okay? If you're looking at this video, go a little more when they're all three of them on stage, just going fucking bananas. A little more, right there, right around there. You have to see this to believe it. At like the fucking, what minute mark there, Lee?
Right now we're at about 8:28,
right. 8:28, 8:29. You think, first of all, if the lead singer's just walking around, he just spit, he's got a Heineken on the fucking amp, he doesn't give a fuck. There's no dancing, there's no fucking around. It's just him. He's just a redneck, and he loves just sitting back there while these three guys don't give a fuck. And again, I'm looking at these guys, you can tell they're not thinking about nothing. They are there. And to me, that is the fucking art right there. There's no resistance. They're not looking at these guys going, wait a second, where's all the cowboys at? These guys are imposing their will. That is the art, Lee.
Would you be saying that if the music wasn't so good? Like if they were playing as confidently?
Part of it, the reason why they're so good, they're confident. Look at it. The guy's jumping up and down. Okay. This is Oakland. This is not Tennessee. This is not the South. These guys are ripping this stadium up like this would be the fucking South. This is what some people would see. What I'm seeing is the art that these people have, or that they're imposing their will. This is redneck music. When I was growing up in Jersey and I heard this the first time, I was like, are you crazy? But then I listened to it some more and I'm like, wait a second. These motherfuckers got a message. And then I bought Give Me Back My Bullets, and that's when my mind almost fucking blew up.
When you first showed me this, I asked you if they were hippies because I was looking at the video.
Look at the guy making out with his chick. This is when concerts were fucking $15 for 8 bands. But this guys took it back to like a microeconomic type of look. In their minds, they're in a fucking barn in Tennessee, rocking for their cousins. There's no explosives. There's nothing fancy. They just rock the fuck out of you. And that state of mind is the art, if you see where I'm coming from. And we've discussed it 10,000 times, but tonight I brought it, The War of Art. I have read this book maybe 10 times. I bought it one time and I made my notes in here, and I don't like it. It became annoying in case it becomes somebody else's book or they want to read it and they got to see stupid notes or me outlining the whole thing. But it's pretty funny if you ever get this book. It's not a hard read at all. It's what's hard is sitting down to write. And remember I was telling you guys like this guy just breaks it down. And what he really talks about, if you go to a store and you pick this up, do you dream about writing the great American novel? Do you regret not finishing your paintings, poems, or screenplays? Do you want to start a business or a charity? Wish you could start dieting or exercising today? Hope to run a marathon someday? If you've answered yes to any of these questions, then you need The War of Art. This powerful, straight-from-the-hip examination of the internal obstacles to success. This is what I was living through all those years. When I started doing that stuff on MySpace and writing, somebody turned me on to this book. And I fucking cried the first couple times I read this. Because this is who I had been all my life. And this guy ended up, this guy is not coming on like he's some fucking big shot.
Right.
Big time author. He's coming on. He's telling you what he went through and what the number one problem we have standing in our way. People always go, you know what Joe Diaz's biggest problem is? He's standing in his own way. You ever hear that expression?
All the time.
When people say, and this book is basically, Hitler wanted to be an artist. At 18, he took his inheritance, 700 kronen, and moved to Vienna to live and study. He applied to the Academy of Fine Arts and later to the School of Architecture. Ever seen one of Hitler's paintings? Neither have I. Resistance beat him. Call it overstatement, but I'll say it anyway. It was easier for Hitler to start World War II than it was for him to face a blank square of canvas.
Holy shit. When did they write this book? Do you have any idea? That's crazy.
Okay, this is, guys, if you're stuck, listen, guys, I got left back in the 7th grade. I got a GED. I'm not coming on like Anthony Robbins here, but I tell you what, this defined a lot of fucking stupid questions I had. Enemy is a very good teacher. And it has resistance greatest hits. It defines what we don't do. We simplify it as resistance. The following is a list in no particular order of those activities that most commonly elicit resistance. The pursuit of any calling in writing, painting, music, film, dance, or creative art, however marginal or unconventional. The launching of an entrepreneurial venture of enterprise for profit or otherwise. Any diet or health regimen, any program of spiritual advancement, any activity whose aim is to tighten abdominals, any course or program designed to overcome an unwholesome habit or addiction, education of any kind, and any act of political, moral, or ethical courage, including the decision to change for the better some unworthy pattern of thought or conduct in ourselves. I sit here with Lee 20 fucking times, and we giggle and we break his balls, but the underlying thing, I went through all this shit, guys. When I sit here and tell you, no matter what position you're in your life right now, you get yourself out of it. Dog, if you don't believe that, stop listening. Stop listening. I talk to people at shows now every week who they'll pull me aside and they'll go, you know what, man? I had this fucking job, and I listened, and I decided to start playing in a band again, and now I have a part-time job, and I played 2 nights, and it's because I had the balls to take a chance. If not, I would have been stuck the rest of my life, miserable, because at least I didn't give it a try. You gotta give it a fucking try. It's 2017, and it ain't getting better.
That's like when you were reading off that list, like the first 4 of them are ones that everyone's to do. Yeah,
no, this is for fucking a year. I sat there and I would try to write a book. I wasted a year on this book since I've been with this guy Gordon. And all of a sudden, I read this book again before I shot the special.
Okay.
Before I even started writing the special, I read this book, and it got my dick hard. And then I read it again before the surgery. I read it on days I don't want to go to jiu-jitsu. I read it on days I don't want to go to a meeting. I'll just pull it out. I have two copies of this. I got it in a travel bag because, guys, it's that easy to fucking slip. It's that easy to slip anymore. You guys know what I'm fucking talking about. I talked to Jay Rom. I talked to a bunch of fucking guys that are having problems. Jay, I hope you're not mad at me. I got nothing but love to you. Let me give some shout outs real quick, and we'll continue this conversation. Yeah, we're going to cover a couple books this month. I got the guy who was the undercover cop on The Iceman.
Oh.
We're going to cover a book by Anthony Bruno called The Iceman. I'm going to order it tonight from Amazon. When Steve came on, that's always a great idea, like a book club. Guys, let me tell you something. If you're stuck, you want to get off an addiction, you're heartbroken, get yourself a couple books. Get a biography of somebody you admire. And if you're broke, go online. They got cheap books online. So what if the back page is ripped? It's the.
Do you have a favorite fiction author, or do you not read a lot of fiction?
I don't know what fiction or nonfiction is. You know me.
Fiction's like made-up stories.
I like biographies.
I like biographies too.
I like the one about the guy who killed Graybo. I don't know what that is, American whatever, renegade. I like books like this, The War of Art. Anything that could help me. I've told you, the books that changed my fucking life. You ready?
Right.
The War of Art.
Got it.
The Art of War. The other one by Sun Tzu. That had 2 things in there I fucking applied to all the time. But the number one book that has helped me the most in my whole life was a book I bought in 1987 called Telephone Sales in the 80s. That was the greatest book I ever read in my life. It was my Bible. It's because who I'm here today. It really was that great of a book. And I've read it, I went to 2 Anthony Robbins seminars. I've done a lot of that shit, guys. I'm not going to sit here and tell you. I went to a lot of that shit because I thought I was crazy. I thought I was fucking crazy. you know, 6 or 7 years after my mom died, you could have sold me a fucking any religion. If Scientology would have got my hand on me right now, I would have been the captain of the ship.
Speaking of that, have you seen that big Scientology building?
Oh, they're back in the valley.
What is happening?
Oh, yeah, we'll go fuck with them.
Oh, my God.
Let's go fuck with them. Let's go get on the Geiger meter, tell them we suck dick with Travolta and shit. Tell them we met Travolta at an orgy one time. He was sucking a penguin's dick, the whole thing. Yeah, they're bringing it back. They used to sponsor the food trucks.
Oh, no.
On Thursday. So you go in there and get a sandwich. Next thing you know, you got fucking Johnny Scientologist asking you if you want to take an IQ test. So I stopped going. I went with my daughter one day. They embarrassed the shit out of me. Embarrasses the shit out of me. You don't need to bother me. Let me get those shout-outs real quick before I forget. Did I read them yet?
No.
Reese Cokespoon. Jeff Collins, my main man. Matt Baltazar, another soldier. Nick Bafalusios. I love you, you fucking Greek cocksucker. Tell these motherfuckers Malaka. Chuck Madden, Alex Castino, Anthony Guzzo, Ookie Spooky always, and the motherfucking Philly Godfather and Jason Silva. I announced that I'm going to do Atlantic City, the Borgata, July 29th. We got Magoobies in Baltimore, March 16th, and we got Levity Live in motherfucking Nyack. So I'm having a good time in fucking March. We got Norton coming on. We got people coming on in March. They're going to blow your fucking socks off. But anyway, back to telemarketing in the 80s rocked my world. It taught me all about sales, broke it down to me, how to sell on the phone, which I fell in love with. There's days I dream about waking up and going to sell shit on the phone. And then I'll just call agents and harass them and call managers and harass them and try to sell them on different ideas and shit.
Do you still have your copy of that book?
Nah, I lost it, and I thought that you had looked it up and they changed it to telemarketing in the 90s, then telemarketing.
Let me check.
That book put me over the top. You know, like other books, Cujo put me over the top. I read The Godfather when it came out. I was 10. I read The fucking Godfather when I was 10.
For fun or for school?
For fun.
Jesus.
Dog, before drugs, I was a fucking nerd guy. I read books and I pictured and I fucking had a telescope, you know. I was looking for fucking Martians and shit. Not really. But I like to look at stars at night and you're going to find the fucking book.
I'm trying to.
Look around the room like a fucking...
I'm seeing if I have to look back at the golden age, successful telephone selling in the 90s.
That's the one.
Okay.
That's the one. It's a blue cover with a phone cord on it.
Let's see. Yeah.
Who the fuck do you think you're dealing with? Well, he didn't update it for 2000. It's a different game out there now. Yeah, that book changed my fucking life. There were so many books that I used to... Before I got locked up, I read every book on law. I read books on lawyers. You got to read, guys. If you get stuck in your life and your mind ain't right, get yourself a couple books. And you know what? Don't fucking cry to me. It costs nothing to get a library card. And you know the most interesting thing? Somebody came up to me this week, and a guy that's come to shows from Denver. He came to like 2 or 3 shows with his wife. Cool motherfucker. Always brings me a gift. I'm sorry I forget his name. I meet a lot of people on the road. At the end of 2 shows, you're stoned. But he told me that he started writing his goals down. And that things change.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
Oh, dog. Shit fucking changes at the speed of lightning.
I don't want to freak you out, but they have successful telephone selling in the 80s on eBay for $3.99.
All right, I'll go home and get it tonight. That's how strong that book is. That book taught me more because it was more of a psychology approach to it instead of a guerrilla approach to it. Like, I read every book on sales there was, you know. When I got into shit, guys. Even if I was doing blow, that's what I would do. I'd do blow and read. That's the best time to fucking read when you do blow. Oh my God, when I was on the road from 98 to 2003, I would go to that Barnes and Nobles in every city, and I'd buy books that I'd give away. I'd read them, but 90% of those books I'd read when I was coked up to the gills.
Is that maybe why your retention wasn't good?
No, my retention would be great because I was coked up. The Adderall was in full effect.
Oh, wow.
So I would fucking do a show and plan on going back to the room with a gram of blow and a 6-pack of beer, and I would just sit there and fucking read whatever.
Did you ever turn a girl away because you wanted to read a book or go back and finish a book?
Anybody who turns a girl away because of a book needs a beating. Needs for somebody to take them in an alley and say, "What's wrong with you? I want to go home and read a book." What are you, fucking crazy?
I don't know. Maybe if I had a really good book.
No. Listen, there was no women. I could lie to you. At this time, it was some nights I would do blow, read a book, and then get all horned up and go out and try to be evil. But who am I going to pick up? I wouldn't pick up nobody.
Have you ever, because I see you just picking up random books sometimes. Did you ever pick up one of those, CVS fantasy erotic novels and read those?
No.
You would never read that.
No. My mom read novellas.
Okay.
And Juan read novellas growing up. And when I would get really bored, I would go in there and try to read the books in Spanish.
So are they legitimate like the soap operas but just written out?
Yeah, but Juan read more like cowboy shit. And my mother read more like romance, but I never even saw those again. I don't even know the fuck she got them, to be honest with you. As a kid, I read a lot of Reader's Digest.
Oh, yeah.
I really liked Reader's Digest. One of the best articles I ever read in Reader's Digest was about Jim Valvano. That's where I first read all that fucking stuff like Juicy. It was really good in there. I don't read magazines. Very seldom do I read magazines. I'm a book guy now. And it's a shame that I don't have the time to read more books. But I have to be a dad, and I got to pay attention to the podcast, and you got to do a lot of stuff, but I'm always reading fucking something. Again, Lingus, I love you, but you curse me, because now I got to read 8,000 pages about Jimmy Page. By the time I read that book, I'll be back into fucking stabbing Satanists and, chasing them in the park and shit.
What about books on tape? Because I don't know if you do like the iPod, but I could see all that driving, just getting a bunch of books on tape. And listening to books or not really?
I love to tell you that I wouldn't like it, but I also never tried it.
Oh, really?
So I'd be bullshitting you. Yeah,
I'm
I never
surprised.
tried it. My wife does it. No, my wife has the thing that she still reads. Man, I like to hold on to some things.
It's definitely different.
And I really like when I get a book and I open it to read of the book and like the covers, and when you take the cover off and you see what the book looks like, I like all that shit. It's like these albums, sometimes we end the podcast and me and Lee sit here for an hour when I look at the albums. I miss that. I miss that part of my life, just touching those covers and shit. I'm a nostalgic. It's not like I'm a collector, but there's a lot of books I read and I take right when I go to the place up the corner where you give away books and clothes. Goodwill. I take all the books. There's a lot of books I like to keep because maybe I say to myself, I'm going to read it again. And I never fucking read them.
I read this book once that freaked me out. I think about it sometimes. I have no idea what it's called. I don't even think I still have it. But it was this guy who sent somebody a jail cell and had them build it in his base, build him a cell, and he made himself be put in jail. For some reason, he wouldn't tell the guy why he did it. But it's just, I don't know. It's weird when a book affects you for a long time.
Do you remember the author or anything?
No, I could look it up. I might even still have it, but it was just.
Where'd you get the book from?
I walked into a bookstore one day.
Who gives you this weird shit, Lee?
No, I walked into a bookstore one day, and you know what? But I didn't even walk in. It was on one of those carts that was outside, and I just looked at it. It looked interesting. I think it might have been the last book that I actually ever read.
How long ago was that?
6 years, something like that.
But you read a lot online. You do a lot of investigative shit. And
I don't know if you can call it reading.
You read when I talk to you about microphones. You go online and you fucking, you love to, God forbid you don't Yelp a fucking hot dog stand somewhere. Oh, well, we're going to go here. Let's Yelp the food on the corner. There's a hot dog stand on there.
Yeah, that's so really sad that that's the extent of my reading is Yelp reviews. But it's,
I think that one of the things that really kept me together as fucked up when I was burglarizing and doing drugs, that I was taking classes, guys. Jesus Christ. What possessed me to stay? And I would pay out of pocket. It's not till I got to CU Boulder and I got the continuing education there that they would start throwing me loans in those days. But not big, no, not loans, grants. What am I saying? There was no loans. Grants. Once I got a certain amount of credits, they said you can apply for grants. So I started applying for the Latino grants and these Cuban grants. I was picking up $200-$300 there. There's a whole world of grants you don't really know about. And like I said, I had my man Manny in Boulder. He was the man with the plan. For the small 100, he'd get you like $1,000 in grants.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he did 10%.
Yeah, I have no. I got out of school as quick as I could. I took summer classes when I was interning out here, so I could graduate a semester early.
And if you get out of prison, you could look into, because there's some campuses that'll tell you they'll allow you, but they're really blowing smoke up your ass. They'll take your application, but they're not going to give you a shot. I'm not going to lie to you about that. But there's some colleges that don't give a fuck, and they just specialize in that they get your aid and everything. They'll even get you money for housing and shit if you get locked up. And I'm not talking about a skill. I'm talking about going back to college, getting your GED. You get your GED, they'll take you back in a fucking college, dog. If I did it, you could fucking do it. Just walk in there like you own the spot and tell them the story. I had to quit because I was on drugs. I had to quit because I went to jail. I had to quit because I knocked up a woman. Tell them the fucking truth on your application. And say you're trying to get your life together and you think this would be a great ending to a great story. And you go back to fucking school. I don't give a fuck what they tell you. I really fucking don't. There's one school out there, and especially now that campuses are online. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, you could do it from home. There was someone who was 40 years old in Paula's law school class.
And he was doing it online?
No, he was doing it. He was going to actual class, but he was 40. So you can do it whenever.
Dog, I don't know what I would do if I could do it. If I had the opportunity to go 2 nights a week, like, I'd have to give up the podcast.
But see, like, that's, like, and I know you're very busy, but you have the opportunity. You could apply right now. Like,
listen, Lee, in anybody's world, you have the opportunity to do whatever the fuck you want. But the longness in the tooth, and I want to be there for my daughter, just in case, is always looming over my fucking head. I've worked it out with myself to be out of town 6 days a month. That's, my wife is telling me that she's asking about me more when I go out of town. You know, when I called Sunday, she goes, she already asked about you 2 times. And I said, please keep her there before the party starts. Let me see her. And everything was fine. This morning, she was pretty happy we went to the park. I got to pay attention to her, Lee. I fucked up once before. This one, I got to pay attention to. So it's a big chunk. Even if I just sit there with her and play the Moana dolls with her, it's the world to her, and she'll remember it forever. You know?
But, I mean, pretty soon, she's going to be going to school.
Next fucking year.
Is she real? Next year? Jesus.
That's it. That's it. I got to make up my mind. And the beauty of it is, if we stay where we're at, we could walk her to school every day and walk back home and be home by fucking 8:45 and do whatever the fuck you want to do. Am I petrified? I'm like any parent. I'm petrified for her, but I also think she'll do great. I think she'll do great. I really believe in her. You know, she's...
What are you petrified of?
Her getting hurt in any way. And she's a little tank, but she's still a little girl, you know. I enjoy my time at home. I enjoy my time with them. It's something that I have to do as a personal choice, Lee. It's something I made a big mistake once before. And even though we weren't, I could tell you 1,000 stories how it wasn't going to last in the beginning. It was a bad situation. Yeah, maybe that's true too. But I knew I didn't put the full effort into it. And I don't want the same to happen again. I like comedy. I like going out there, but I can't go out there. I feel the difference when I take 3 planes in a row compared to 2 planes in a row. You know, that's it. The comedy is the fucking most enjoyable thing I've ever done in my life. Let's face it. It's the plane ride, waiting at the airport for your luggage. You know, you're supposed to land at 9. You land at 8:45. but the plane coasts till fucking 9:45. I'd rather fly around so I can watch the rest of the fucking movie instead of sitting here. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's it's hectic. Every time you go up and every time you go down, it takes a toll on your system. You want to rest in between. You want to be hydrated. I drink like 22 bottles of water when I'm on those planes. Like,
Yeah, you go to the bathroom a lot.
oh, I go because I stretch my legs. I do leg raises. I move my neck. I rotate my shoulders. You know, I've been doing it. So I'm prepared for it, you know. But at the same time, I got to be a father. I got to be a husband. I'm going on a date with my wife Friday night. You know, I got to do these things. Last week when I was here, we went to the family dance. If I don't do this, Lee,
Who is?
I can't do it. I'll lose them, and over what?
I was very lucky. I had both parents home. My dad worked nights a lot, but he was home during the day.
It's very important.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's very fucking important, and it's important to me. Again, I see in today's society, and I know for a fact, parents gotta work, Jack. Parents gotta fucking work. Parents gotta work today. Both of them to make it happen. It costs you from A to Z. I look at the fucking bills for her. You gotta work, Jack. You gotta work.
Just even to cover basic, like housing and food is expensive now.
I figured it out like a month ago without the calculator, by the way. And my jaw dropped. And there's sneakers for her, and you know, I looked at, thank God me and my wife ain't got bones. You know, we have a simple dinner schedule. Friday, we go to McDonald's. It's what she likes. Some Fridays, I get chicken nuggets with her.
You're not home 2 Fridays a week, yeah.
Excuse me?
You're not home 2 Fridays a month.
No, so the 2 Fridays I'm home, we pick her up, and she wants to go to a McDonald's. We get her the gift box, and on fucking Sunday, we go to Mama Maria's, where it's $40 for all three of us. You know, me and my wife don't go overboard. We cook during the week. My wife made a beautiful piece of fucking, whatever tonight, not salmon, but the other one, halibut.
Right.
With some corn, you know, I stay in. I mean, the main concern is the child and her future. You know, I'm thinking about different things now. They offered me some pretty neat stuff on the road. They offered me some theaters on the road.
Hell yeah.
I'll be talking about it more, you know. Like I said, I'm trying to write. I'm trying to put together a whole new fucking situation here. I'm on for 420 with D'Agostino and Felicia Michaels for Oxnard.
Oh, shit.
I'm trying to get my main man Matt Fultron with me at Levity Live, April 20, whenever I'm up there at the end of the month. Theo Vaughn was in Denver this week, and thank you very much for the people from the church that went and supported Theo Vaughn. He really did great. He was at the other club, and I got him into the Comedy Works, and Rick Kern showed up and had a great time with him. So if you went to see Theo Vaughn, and also I want to thank you guys for supporting the comics that come on to church. I'm hearing great fucking things from Kate Quigley. In fact, some kids sent me something from Vegas.
Yeah.
You guys go out and see Greg Fitzsimmons, and listen, it's a beautiful fucking thing, comedy. Everybody was fucking sold out this weekend. So if you're into comedy, fucking thank you from the bottom of my heart, man. Got a little itch over here in my nutsack. It's not really the nutsack. It's above the fucking thing. What are you looking at me all weird?
I'm sorry. I apologize.
So yeah, we got this book will really help you.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm going to order it now.
No, I'll let you. I want you to read it, and in a week, give me what you thought. You're
Okay.
gonna outline it.
On Monday?
This is really going to help you, Lee. This is going to narrow you down. You know, it gets a little weird at some points. Just read through it. I want you to read about resistance. I want you to really get into what the fuck resistance is. Resistance is invisible, and once you read that and you understand how your mind works, you know, when it broke it down. Like I said, when I read the Anthony Robbins thing, a lot of that made sense, but a lot of it was repetitive, and either it's going to stick or it's not, and 30% of the time it don't stick. This shit sticks. If you look at the right on writing, sticks. This shit sticks with you, and this is, you know, man, I get 1,000 fucking emails a day. Thank you. Dante Gazzini always sends emails. I read his letters. But I got a lot of emails from people on different Gmail accounts and shit. And people are stuck. People are fucking stuck. Now, again, bro, get a notebook. Start writing it down. You want to get off those pills. You want to get off that heroin. You want to get off the blow. It took me a year of writing how much I hated fucking life for me to finally get off the powder. And I know that 20% of it was the shit I was writing in that notebook. I looked at that notebook 3 years later, and I not just threw it away. A lot of notebooks you just throw away.
Okay.
I ripped the covers off it, and I cut each page with scissors into tiny things because I never wanted anyone to ever read what I went through that year before I quit cocaine. The things that were on that paper were truth, a lot of truth, which isn't pretty.
That's really dark, dude. Like you cut every page.
Every January I would start. Every January 1 I would get 2 notebooks because I know I would go through 2 notebooks and I would name them that year.
Okay.
And in 2007, the year I got off blow, I threw that notebook away when I moved to the Valley, which was 2009. And when I was like, maybe I'll keep this. Maybe I'll keep this. Who knows? And when I started reading it, I said, not only do I not want to keep this, I don't want to see this again. Because this was if somebody read this, just by reading this, they give this to the authorities and make them come get me just to do they'd probably take my shoelaces and fucking put me in a black cell. I swear to God,
Your 5150 or whatever that is.
The shit I was writing those last 8 months before that summer when I was doing heroin, the shit I would write at night when I was doing heroin was so sad. Was just my bitter guts of what I thought about myself, why I was doing the drug, and then it got goofier and goofier how I was gonna stop snorting coke by doing the heroin, and then there was that fucking weekend in November, and if you look at the week before I quit coke, instead of writing a page and a half, I was writing like 4 pages.
This is how you remember everything. This is crazy. I never knew you did all this.
You have to write when you wake up in the morning, and then midday you have to finish the other side of the page and explain how your day went, what your expectations were, what you didn't really do. If you really stick to this and you keep 3 years at a time and you look back and you fucking will throw it away. Unless you're just like gambling and making millions or you're in the stock market. But to see the guts, what you were writing when you were struggling, is something I would never publish it. Even now, I'll look at in July, I'll look at last year's.
How honest are you in them? Like, is it hard to be brutally honest? Do you lie to yourself sometimes?
No. Well, I'm like, they're not memoirs, and it's not a diary with a lock on it. You know what I'm saying? Remember 20 years, people, I'm like, I write in my diary every day. And then everybody would steal your fucking diary and you crack it. And people would steal your diary and you'd be in there talking about how you like fucking candy canes or something. No, this is when I wake up in the morning. My morning writing is about when I wake up in the morning. If I'm angered about something, I write it out. And why I should be angered and how I would resolve the situation early in the morning. You ever wake up angry, Lee Syatt?
Yes.
This is what you do.
Oh my God.
And it's a lot better if you smoke a joint. This morning I didn't wake up angry. I woke up really rested. And when I started writing this morning, I went on fire because I don't know why. Once I saw Mercy and I started talking to my wife, I drank some coffee and I was going fucking bananas. But I've been sticking to my writing plan. 6 days a week, 2 paragraphs a day. I've been sticking to it, man. On its own, Lee. It just pops up. It's the weirdest thing. It just pops up now. It took me 4 years of fucking writing to get to this. And if you read The War of Art, that's what it tells you.
What do you mean it just pops up?
To make sure you sit down and write every day. It took me 4 years now. Now, for some reason, lift, boom. Next thing you know, I got 1 paragraph down. Next thing you know, I'm blending the 2 paragraphs together. Next thing you know, I add a third one. Next thing you know, I look at the clock. It's 10 to 5. Let me add my sentences for tomorrow. Let me start the outline for tomorrow. And boom, I close the computer and I'm done for the fucking day. And the next day, I have my day proportioned so I know exactly when I'm going to hit that fucking thing. It's really weird how it doesn't become an addiction, but it becomes an automatic response now. Just because I read that stupid War of Art, because I wasn't sitting down. That book forced me to sit down. Stop bullshitting yourself. The only way you're going to learn to write is by writing. The only way you're going to write your goals is by writing your goals every day. So you find the niche in your day, and you write at that niche, and all of a sudden you get, like, I wouldn't write my book in the morning when I wake up. My head's too fucked up. There's no way. So in the morning I write jokes. That's when my head's fucked up. That's how I want to write a joke. When it's not really me. It's somebody else that woke up after 22,000 milligrams of edibles and an anxiety pill and fucking joints, and I swang a bat and a protein powder.
But you're not fighting yourself and trying to write it not at 10 p.m.
No, I'm not chasing the goat no more. No. I'm not pulling the Weight Watchers while I'm eating fruit at night to beat the fucking points. You know what I'm saying? None of that shit.
I feel like I'm going to get really pissed off at myself when I read this book.
Yes. The time I read it a couple weeks ago, I thought a lot about you when I read this book. Because we all we're lacking something. The reason why we're not where we are is because we're lacking a certain element in our lives. And I'm no better than you guys. This is why I read this shit. I don't read this shit because I'm King Farouk and I'm the smart. I was Phi Kundalam Dam, whatever that shit is. What are you, Phi Kundalam, whatever, when you're the smartest person in school? Phi Beta Cap is one.
Yeah, cum laude.
Cum laude, yeah, whatever.
And sum cum laude, whatever. I wasn't any of them.
No, I could tell. He fucking went to see fucking Bad Santa too. That told me a lot about you fucking magook.
I would tell you. But I'm excited to read it. I'm excited to see. Well, do you think I'll make some changes immediately in the way I run my life?
I think you'll be a little guilty. I think you'll get a pad and read through some stuff again. I think that...
should I take notes, or do you think I should just read it first?
Absolutely take notes.
Okay.
Absolutely. You're going to see a lot of shit in there that you're going to go, Jesus fucking Christ. There's one chapter where he tells you that sometimes you have to be a little angry, you know. You know, some people, the great Bobby Slayton yesterday wrote that Denzel Washington was an asshole, that, you know, what's the name of the host?
Jimmy Kimmel.
Jimmy Kimmel was hilarious and Denzel didn't laugh. You know what, man? That's the difference between kids and men. There's some people who ain't got time to fucking giggle, all right? You want to say something funny and knock me out of the park, knock me out of the park. But if you want me to sit here and fake giggle, I'm not going to fucking fake giggle. I don't even want to fucking be here. You know what I'm saying? And that's what he talks about. You have to have a little bit of that anger. He describes his whole writing career and all this shit he went through.
I think one of my biggest problems is being assertive, not being assertive enough. And I think that's something I have to fix.
Again, I don't think you have any mental problems. I think you have the problems that a 28-year-old has that's sick and tired of getting kicked in the teeth. You're striving for ideas. You come up with 10 ideas a day, you have 100 ideas a week, and you start none of them.
Right, exactly.
And, you know, listen, you're not a failure by no means. That means ugats. That means nothing. You're going to have bad ideas 20 times. I really, really think, and I applaud you, I've been watching you for 5 years. And I see what you want to do, and I see what you want to do. And you can't find and you mentioned to me how you always thought it and you want to be a professional gambler. Not something your mom's going to be proud of. I mean, she could handle the podcast for 2 more years. But if she finds out about the professional gambling,
yeah.
We discussed different types of gambling. We discussed that there's a way to gamble and a way to fucking just throw away your money. You might as well, every time you see somebody, give them $200.
And the thing that you said to me a couple weeks ago that has turned exactly true was that you're not going to get better at it doing it once every 6 months. And in my head, I talked about how the podcast has been doing great. I'm doing great now. I'm doing a lot better than I was a couple of years ago.
You cut a lot of waste in your life?
I haven't had cable in 2 years.
No, but you cut a lot of the podcasts you were doing.
Yeah.
You weren't getting nowhere, so you're more refreshed. You know, I get hit up. A new company hit me up and see if I want to go in business with them. If you and I had a different concept for a podcast. And I'm like, I'm very happy with the church. I'm very happy with looking at Def Leppard on the wall. I'm very happy about fucking playing music with you. I don't think I should start another fucking podcast.
No,
I'm very happy with doing 2 podcasts a week. And that's the way it fucking goes. You know what I'm saying?
I feel it.
It's just crazy. Yeah, read that book. And next Monday we'll talk about it. Or next Wednesday when Chris Heron calls on the show. Next March 8th. The guy had a 30-30 about addiction. If you have an addiction right now, you better watch this fucking Chris Heron 30 for 30. I know it's on ESPN.com or something. They gotta have it on there on that 30 for 30 or when it's on YouTube. Before next Wednesday, make sure you watch the Chris Heron one. This guy was a bad motherfucking ass white basketball player. I mean, Larry Bird type shit. That smoked his fucking fingers. You know, the same story you've heard 20,000 times. But what he's doing now, I admire these guys that go clean. Listen, yeah, I don't do the fucking craziness no more. I'll eat one of those Larry pills from time to time. I'll smoke a little toots, we eat a little edible. But God, I knock on wood every fucking day that I'm not putting that white shit in my nose or eating bada booms and anxiety pills and chase. No. And it all starts with this book, guys. The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. I don't care if you're fucking drinking battery acid. Read this book for me, alright? And you'll be fucking tweeting me in a year going, Joey, I'm not doing that shit no more because of this stupid fucking book. How many pages is it, Lee? And again, guys, I don't even know who Stephen Pressfield is. I never met him. Rogan had him on the podcast. Two of the great podcast guy. You know, he wrote his experiences and how you could become a better fucking at whatever. But what stops us from going to where we're trying to get? What's it say it costs?
162 pages, and it costs $12.95, $18.95 if you're in Canada.
$12.95 to change your whole life. I don't make a dime on this, guys. I'm not sick and tired. I'm really concerned of all the emails I get with people not knowing their next move or what's stopping them. This is it. What the fuck, Lee? So yeah, I'm not doing dick this week. I'm doing a show Thursday at the store. Tomorrow night, I think I'm gonna go to a Laker game for the first time in fucking 6 years. Somebody invited me and it's time I get out of the house. Like I said, guys, you know how social fucking awkward I am. But tomorrow night I'm going to do something that I haven't done in years. I'm going to go to a basketball game. Holy fucking shit. I can't believe I put myself in this situation. I got to meet downtown at 6 o'clock. So I'm going to Uber Lee. You're going to Uber me a fucking thing. I tried to call my man. He never hit me back. I don't know what the fuck's going on. That Armenian's always on point and shit. And, that's it, man. Let me talk to you people about something very, very important. That I opened up my underwear the other day. I opened up my underwear drawer, and there was one pair of blue shorts, like blue gym shorts, as you would call them, and everything else was MeUndies. I couldn't believe that there wasn't a pair of white underwear no more. It was all MeUndies, whatever the big size is. And I got red ones. They sent me the Valentine's Day one. I got fucking Christmas ones. I got to give Lee a couple. I always forget and I put them on. I don't want to give Lee used underwear.
I appreciate that.
You know what I'm saying? But I got to tell you something. The more and more I wear those things, the more and more I like them. I wouldn't even take underwear on the road with me. I take 3 pair of MeUndies. And I only wear like 2 of them. I'll wear one day and a half at the gym because ball sweat's ball sweat. Who gives a fuck when you're on the road? But I'll tell you what I like about them. I like that I don't feel like I have something on. And that's the most important thing about MeUndies, all right? What is it with MeUndies? First of all, they're seriously soft, they feel good, and MeUndies is delivered right to your door. MeUndies are designed in LA and made from substantially sourced micro-modal, a fabric 3 times softer than cotton. MeUndies softer than soft, luxurious underwears come in ever-changing selection of classic colors, bold shades, and adventurous patterns, so you can tailor your undies to your own personal style. You open up my drawer, and it looks like a rainbow of colors. I got blue underwear, I got red underwear, I got underwear with hearts on them, I got blue underwear with snakes, I got underwear, and guess what? I like every fucking pair of them, alright? And guess what else? You can save time and money each month with a monthly subscription, all right? And if you're not ready for subscription, that's okay. You can still save. That's because MeUndies is offering you 20% off your first pair. Just use the special URL MeUndies.com/Joey and get 20% off your first pair. Uncle Joey never bullshits you. These are the pair of underwear you've been going for, right? So go ahead, revamp your underwear drawer. You deserve it. You want good underwear? You gotta fucking pay the piper. And these underwear are worth every single fucking dime. I love them to death. They keep my nuts soft. They're tight. I don't even think I got them on, and everything's beautiful. All right. Once again, revamp your underwear drawer. Once again, MeUndies.com/Joey. Again, MeUndies.com/Joey. Trust me, get those for Father's Day for your grandfather. His balls will be comfortable. Father's Day's coming. Mother's Day's coming. MeUndies is for you. Go to MeUndies.com/Joey and get 20% off your first order, or just subscribe, all right? Number 2, every time I come in here, I look at that watch Lee has, and I go, Lee is a bad motherfucker. Lee, talk to me about this watch. You still love it to death?
I love it. First of all,
I mean, you've had it for, I don't know, since Christmas.
Yeah, at least.
No problems?
No problems. It's still running great. I really like the design. It's really lightweight, like you said about the MeUndies. I've had a lot of bigger watches that feel really clunky, and it hurts your wrist after a while, and so you don't wear them. This is really comfortable, and it's just, I love it.
Let me talk to you about it. MVMT watches, all right? Pronounce the movement. Was founded on the belief that style shouldn't break the bank. Right? This is what I've been telling you for years, right? You want to go to a Chinese restaurant? They got the lunch special, $5.95, and you get a diet soda. That's breaking the bank. Right there, it's a beautiful deal. The watchmaker's goal is to change the way consumers think about fashion by offering high-quality, minimalistic products at revolutionary prices. With over 1 million watches sold to customers in 160 countries around the world, MVMT Watches has solidified itself as one of the world's fastest growing watch companies, all right? Listen, you know how we started this podcast? It started 5 years ago. We were getting, 3,000 downloads. Nobody wanted to talk to us. Nobody invited us, nothing. And now we rock and roll with the best of them, all right? That's the same way they did with this watch company. Movement watches start at $95. At a department store, the same watch, you're looking at $400 to $500. Movement figured out that by selling online, they were able to cut out the middleman, like everybody's doing now, and the retail markup, providing the best possible price. Classic design, quality construction, style minimalism. Over 1 million watches sold in 160 countries. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. Get 15% off today. MVMT with free shipping and free returns by going to MVMTwatches.com/church. Break it down, Lee. CHURCH. These watches really have a nice, clean design. I'm telling you, Lee has been getting compliments. I see how he is around the bitches. It's a badass watch. It looks good on him. Now it's time to step up your watch game. Go to MVMTwatches.com/church. Listen to me. Again, Father's Day is coming. Go to MVMTwatches.com/church. He's going to love it. All right. St. Patty's coming. You want to give your husband or your wife a watch. This is the watch for you. MVMT.com/church.
MVMTwatches.com.
MVMTwatches.com. All right. We'll be back Wednesday. You know I love you motherfuckers with all my heart. Don't forget Magooby's Baltimore, March 16th, the day before St. Patty's. And then you got Levity Live the last week of the month. All right, guys? I love you. We'll be back on Wednesday ready to fucking rock. Stay blackish.